Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Progressive Overload podcast. Have you ever thought about strengthening multiple areas of your life at the same time? Then you've come to the right place. Our goal is to help you identify ways that you might need a progressive overload to break through those plateaus and keep you growing.
Hey, what's up, Progressive Overload family? I am Tyson the Kaioken Kid, the one and only, the great one, you know, all that good stuff. Mm-hmm. I'm here with I'm here with Typhoid Joe.
What's up? I'm back.
Yeah, I'm back. I can barely breathe. And then we have the amazing Veronica with us.
What's up, Ronnie?
Yeah, I forgot Ronnie, the main character.
Main character vibes.
I forgot.
Yeah,
very good, very good. So what are we talking about today, Joe?
Today we're going to be talking about the softest episode ever, which is a Letterkenny reference. I know you and I have talked about Letterkenny before. It's a fun show. It's not very appropriate, but it is a hilarious sitcom or whatever you want to call it on Hulu.
Do you watch it with subtitles?
Oh, you have to.
You kind of have to.
You
right?
do.
I don't like subtibtils, but
they talk so fast and they're so witted.
Yeah,
and
you'll miss it if you don't read it.
Yeah.
Those Canadians.
But have you ever watched Letterkenny?
A little bit, yeah.
I
think just like the first season, though.
Yeah,
that's the best one anyway.
Anyways, so the point of that is the advice in the fitness industry can be so harsh and so in your face, and so kind of the balls to the wall mentality, the hammer, and we're going to take a little bit of different angle at some softer advice that I think will still help you grow, especially if you're a beginner, but even if you're not, this could be some things that you need to hear. But first, I guess we're just going to do this forever until we run out of questions.
Keep going.
I do too. Okay. Who was your childhood actor, actress crush?
Oh, man.
So, Tyson, what was your favorite actor
I
crush?
gotta think about it. I don't know.
You didn't catch that. What actor were you most attracted to?
What actor was I most attracted to?
John Stamos.
No,
I'm just joking. I'm just joking. Y'all have one?
I'm trying to think. Go ahead.
Yeah.
All the girls
Of
know
course.
right off the bat.
You got his poster on your wall still.
No.
You're about to tell me Johnny Depp.
Nope.
No?
Jonathan Taylor Thomas.
Oh,
JTT.
Yeah. His wavy hair. That was a kid in...
I grew up with Home
Depot.
Improvement.
Or Home Improvement, yes.
I'm sure they went to Home Depot.
Half the show was shot in Home Depot, I'm sure. What about you?
I can't think of one.
You can't think of one?
I didn't have an actor that I just absolutely loved. I don't know.
Yeah. No female martial artist that you idolized?
No. Not necessarily.
Kelly.
Yeah.
Your wife.
My wife. No.
That's the answer for everything.
Yeah. She's going to hear this. Kelly's the only girl I've ever thought about, ever.
Safe answer.
In the history of ever.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think if I had a child one. The first one that comes to mind, I've always had a crush on Blake Lively, but I don't know if that was, if she was
childhood.
Yeah, I don't know if that's childhood.
Because I don't know when.
Oh, if I'm going childhood, I got to go with the Pink Ranger.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was
yeah. If we're going all the way to the kiddies, yeah, man,
that'd be the first one I can remember.
It was like puberty awakening.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Pink Ranger.
The Pink Ranger. Yeah, the yellow one just wasn't there for it. Right?
No, the pink one.
Yeah, I feel you. Mostly. I don't know if you know this, some Power Ranger history for you, but the Yellow Ranger, and during all the fight scenes, was actually a man. So that's probably why you like the girl.
That's probably
there
why.
Go.
It didn't move right. This is weird. All right.
So go to our first one.
Yeah. So the first one, what you hear from the fitness industry is this is nutritional science that you should follow. This is the diet that will work for you, and you have to follow this. You need to follow this diet. But the softer side of that is really whatever works best for you is 100% valid. If you can stick to it, if it's something that works for you and you enjoy it and you think you can keep it up for life, it is perfectly valid.
Yeah.
That was my point.
I agree. To be fair.
Letterkenny reference.
Yes. I would say even science agrees with this, though. I think whatever works for you, based on as long as you can maintain the body that the body mass index that you like,
right,
that you're comfortable, or you're healthy should be. Then as long as you can maintain that, go for it.
Yeah.
Do what works.
For sure.
Well, we're speaking of terms of losing weight and stuff like that. And I think it's important to note the reason why a lot of mainstream things make it seem really complicated is because if you make it really complicated, you make it seem really difficult to figure out, then they can sell you a solution, right?
Exactly.
So making it
That's such a good point.
easier and breaking it down, that's not helpful to anyone trying to sell anybody anything.
Sure.
So at the end of the day, from a weight loss standpoint, we were talking about it doesn't matter what you do, and people are really set on keto or paleo or whatever. But as long as you're creating calorie deficit, however way you do that, you're going to be successful.
Yeah.
100%.
So it doesn't really matter how you do that, and it doesn't have to be complicated.
I love that point so much, because when you can create confusion but make it sound just good enough, that's when that hook comes in, that sale pitch comes in. Oh, you don't understand that? Let me coach you.
Yeah, I'll sell you something.
Let me sell it. Let me sell you this program.
Now, also too though, like I don't know about you guys, but you hear about maintaining.
Right.
I'm never maintaining. I'm either cutting
It's true.
or I'm bulking. There's never like, well, I'm happy where I'm at, and I'll just continue on being this where I'm at right now.
I always see it as an experiment, because I don't see it as like one's bad and one's good, like as far as like where I've been body weight wise for the most part. But I was like, this is the most muscle mass I've ever had. I just want to see what it looks like with a little less body fat.
Sure.
Right.
So you cut
It's
it down
not,
some.
not that I feel like I'm unhealthy or that like
Right.
I'm unhappy. I'm just curious.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. And you're almost any time I've just tried to maintain, what you do is you end up getting too comfortable in that place, and then you're like, oh, I'm putting on body weight, and you end up on a bulk.
Yeah,
But you're
that's kinda how it
so
goes.
Just call it a bulk.
just call it a
it's
bulk.
phase.
Yeah, just don't dirty it up, that bulk. This is another one that I love, and I think it'll bring good conversation. But the industry screams, "Oh, you want to look better, move better, blah blah blah. All you need to do is eat less and move more. It's that easy." When in reality, a lot of times, the majority of times, eating less is keeping you from losing weight.
Right.
For chronic undereaters, which is
Mostly women.
a lot of the average women that come into the
Yeah.
gym, they have been stuck on that 1,200 calorie diet for so long. And then they're like, all right, I need to lose more weight, so I'm going to eat less and eat less and eat less. That is not always the answer.
You'll find that if you coach them to eat more, they're afraid. They're so afraid to add anything more into their diet. They're so restrictive. But not only does it mess you up physically, because you're not going to get a great workout when you are fatigued and you don't have any energy. So you're not going to have a great workout at all, and you can't put any muscle mass on that way. So at that point, why are you even looking to lose any sort of weight? Like, what are we talking about? Fat loss? Or are we talking about weight loss?
Right.
And that's a big difference. I don't think people differentiate that enough.
Of course.
And as we know, weight loss is just overall fat and muscle loss. And that actually isn't going to be helpful over time for anybody.
No.
I know from a fighter standpoint, I come across this whenever a fighter's got a fight event coming up, and they just completely freak out about their weight, and they're just like, I got to cut everything out. I'm just starving. They'll cut their calories completely down.
Yeah.
And then their workouts start to suffer, and then they don't have enough protein. They're not having enough just fuel to fuel their workouts, and they end up getting injured a lot of times, or burnt out, or sick,
Exactly.
or all these things. That's definitely not the way to go about it. You got to have a plan you got to have an eating plan and a program, just like your workout
Just
program.
like a workout plan.
And then follow it to a T. But it's weird because they see that end goal, that end number, and it's almost like they lose faith in me for a second as their coach. They're like, "There's no way I'm going to be able to get that down. There's no way that I'm eating this amount and I'm still going to drop off the weight to be able to get to where I need to
also
be."
live in an age of instant gratification. So nobody wants to see the process and see the journey and watch it unfold slowly. They just want to get to that end goal immediately.
Sure.
Right.
So a lot of times that's why people cut so quickly and so much, is they're like, well, let's get there in half the time. Well, then you're not actually losing the fat loss you want to lose. You're going to lose strength.
Sure.
Well, like
strength and
that,
muscle.
and then your body goes into survival mode. It just tries to hold on to everything.
Yeah, well, and you got to think about the hormone response that's going to happen to that too. Your hormone response is not going to be advantageous to building muscle.
Right.
It is going to be advantageous to holding on fat because your body's scared of losing what it needs to survive.
You turn off the food all of a sudden. Your body's like, well, I guess we're in hard times. I guess I need to hang on to this.
Exactly.
And that's just the physical components. Like if you're cutting at all, there's a huge mental component to food that most people don't even address. And that's a huge reason why if you cut too much too soon, you could end up, and a lot of people do, end up in this restrict binge cycle that takes years to get over if you ever do.
It's hard to get out of that.
There.
Jean, we mentioned her last episode. Me and her are celebrating this win, I guess last week. She came to me, very much under eating. She was not eating near enough that she should be. And me asking her to eat more really, honestly scared her. And I know she doesn't mind me sharing this. But she, thankfully, she trusted me and listened to me and starting increasing her caloric input. And little we know, she's fitting into different pant sizes. Her weight has gone down. And she's like, how the heck am
her
I
sleep
eating?
is better.
Yes.
Everything's better.
Oh, it's
stress
full,
levels are better.
Full, all the way around. But she's just like, her mind is blown that she's eating more, but her body's changing like rapidly. And it's
honestly, her
really
general
cool.
disposition is so much cheerier.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm proud of her. Go Jean.
Yay, Jean.
2 shout outs in back-to-back episodes.
Congrats. Yeah, this makes me think too, though. It reminds me of some of the bad advice that I would get when I first started working out from people. Funny enough, from people who don't work out. Well, a lot of times, more than happy to give you advice. Yeah. And I just distinctly remember, you want to lose some weight, just back off the feed bag a little bit.
Oh, that's always like
just the old rancher.
Right.
Just eat less. What are you talking about? It's not that hard. It turns out to be a little bit more complicated.
It is more complicated.
I think it depends on your goals too, and I say this every episode, I'm sure, but
because it's true.
There are people who obviously for whatever career and whatever you're trying to accomplish, so fighters, people who have to be on stage at a certain time, you're prepping for a certain reason, you're going to have to be way stricter in your food plan and be more methodical than you are for like, I'm cutting for summer, right?
Right.
It's like, and it's not necessary to my career goals for it to work.
Right.
So if it doesn't, if I get just close, that's fine.
Yeah, exactly.
But for people who are, on a career path, it's much more serious.
Mm-hmm.
Right. If you're just wanting to look a little bit better for the summer season, so you're a little bit more confident, at the beach or at the pool or whatever, you don't have to take it that serious. It's a different level of commitment, and kind of what this next step that goes well with it. Like whether you hit your goals or not, the fact that you care about it, the fact that you have goals, you're already better than everybody else that's at home sitting on their couch with no goals in mind whatsoever. Yeah. So be proud of that.
Ambition is important. I think it's for our overall satisfaction as human beings. I think it's really important that we have ambition towards something, motivation towards something.
Yeah. And I remember hearing this from somebody, I don't remember where, but he was talking to a mentor or something like that. He's like, I'm afraid I'm just not a good enough dad. And what the mentor said was like, the fact that you're afraid of not being a good dad already proves that you're a better dad than most people out there. Like you care about it. You obviously want to be better. Yeah. And that's half the battle right there. Mm-hmm. So many people are just so stagnant and don't care about any sort of growth whatsoever in their life. And that's I've been there before, and it's not a fun place to be.
Sure. Yeah, I saw something the other day that was kind of along those same lines. It was like, oh, you didn't hit your bench weight or your squat weight or whatever you're trying to do. It's like there's all these other, most people don't even work out regularly.
Yeah. So. Yeah, you're winning. You're okay.
Right.
It's like it's
you might be listening to this podcast and you're like just begging for help, looking for motivation. Like the fact that you're here, already investing time into a health and fitness podcast already tells me that you're a growth-minded person and you want to know more and you want to improve, and that already proves that you're doing the right things and you're doing a great job. So don't be too hard on yourself.
Not only that, what I would tell a fighter that was coming to me with these kind of questions, the fact if your goals are so big that you're having trouble reaching them, then they're big enough.
Yeah.
If you're reaching your goals just one after another too fat, well,
that's good.
Dream bigger, man. What are you doing? You should be failing your goals a little bit.
But also being too tied up in the end goal that's a hazard for just quitting, right? You're just like, oh, I didn't reach it, and now I'm just not going to try again. I'm just going to be done. Right. So it's like find some happiness in the journey and in the process.
Yeah, I think the fitness media and everything, they push the end result so hard, and
they're also trying to sell everybody something.
Of course, and it's all money motivated. But that's not the message that helps. It's the message that helps is not just yearning, striving for that end goal. The biggest thing that you can do in your health and fitness journey is learn how to grow within the journey. And, I was explaining this to Gene yesterday, if you imagine like two different people in the same circumstance, and one put all of the hard work in and they did everything you need to do. They were dedicated in all areas of their fitness and they reached their end goal. And then you have the other person who probably went up and down, but ended up doing something like Ozempic or, some sort of weight loss surgery or something like that.
Some magic pill,
whatever. And if you compare the end result of those two people, they're going to be completely different people because of the lessons that the first one learned through the hard work, through the determination, how they learned a discipline. Their body, they learned the discipline. There's so many lessons. People do not put enough importance on the lessons you learn in a journey.
Also just creating a habit that is going to help you more physically too. So if you're so wrapped up in just like physical appearance, like you're not thinking long term and you're not thinking about your mental health and how it's going to help you get there too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wrap it up. But I also want to talk about the all or nothing. We kind of spoke about that earlier, mentality around things like this. And for a long time, I had to unfollow everyone that was like hashtag no excuses.
Yeah.
Right.
No days off.
It's like no days off, no excuses. Like I'm so sick and I'm busting it out at the gym right now.
Right.
Like, that's not a flex.
No,
that's not a flex.
And that kind of goes right on to our next
segue.
Yeah, segue.
Yep.
Look at you. You're a regular now. I told you.
Alley-oop.
Yep. But yeah, and that's just some workouts are amazing and some are not, and that's got to be okay.
Yeah, you didn't do anything wrong. There's so many different factors that can set up a just amazing killer workout, and you can do that same workout the next week under different circumstances, and it just feel like crap.
Oh yeah.
And it's dependent on sleep, your nutrition that week, that night before, your stress levels of work or family. There's so many different things. Yes. So you didn't do anything wrong.
It's funny how much life around the gym can affect just exactly your performance in the gym.
Absolutely. 100%. We were just talking about that with everyone being sick and trying to come back from that, and workouts not being great.
Right.
Yeah, I've been fighting this little back injury, so I have been nursing my workouts quite a bit. Like I did a whole, I think 100 and maybe 125 pounds on my barbell row the other day, and that's nothing compared to just my regular. And it was just kind of humbling a little bit.
Yeah.
Like
also speaking of that, like in the same thing, we got to separate our rational and our irrational mindset, because in my mind, if I'm not in the gym for 2 days, I'm losing all my muscle mass. I'm losing all my definition, and everything's gone. Everything's done. And rationally, we know that's not the case. That's not the thing. And it's probably even more beneficial towards growth to take time away.
I'm on day 4 without working out right now, and it's killing me. But I just knew like I was already beat down. I lost so much sleep for the last 4 nights. Like
it's counterproductive to what you're trying to do.
It would not help me at all. And that's really hard for me to do, but I'm forcing myself to do it. I'll get a workout tonight though, and I think it'll feel good.
Yeah, it's interesting because working out, especially I think to all three of us, it's a mental health thing as much as it is a physical. But the thing about it is you are actually physically damaging the muscles to regrow them. So whenever you're already beat down,
it's more stress on the body.
You don't go out and stress out the body more so.
Right.
It's
exactly.
just counterproductive.
Like I've lost so much sleep. Like my daughter was up for like 4 hours in the middle of the night the other night, and I was the only one home. And so the last thing I needed to do when I was already sick was go beat myself down anymore.
Yeah.
The next one is, I think, important and so important, especially for beginners out there, or somebody who's just still new to their journey. Just know that a little bit of effort consistently will take you so much more further, much more farthest. Much further than a hard journey. What's the opposite of a little bit of effort? Like intense journey. Inconsistently.
Right.
So
and that's what you were kind of saying in one of the last episodes I was on about for new beginners too, doing a full body workout would be more beneficial because with like consistently a couple times a week than like going in and just picking one body part and just tearing it apart once a month.
Right. Yeah, any like really anything you can do consistently is the key. Consistency it has to be the most important factor.
Have you ever heard of the door frame workout?
No.
I don't think so.
So every time you go through the door frame of your house,
Mm-hmm.
you got to drop down and give 10 push-ups and then 10 pull-ups.
I would never get anywhere.
I bet you get such good results,
Dude,
there.
so yeah, man, some of the people that were telling me about it, like every time they go to the bathroom, you got to go drop down, give you 10, get up, get 10 pull-ups. Like the results, they speak for themselves, and it's just over, and not that 10 push-ups isn't a lot of push-ups.
No.
But if you do that every time you go to the bathroom, well, suddenly you did 100 push-ups today or more.
Yeah.
You know?
There's a pretty new concept out there that's called like all day workouts, and it's literally like if you're at home all day and you have something at home that you could do, just like once an hour setting your alarm, and if you have like a squat rack at home, going to do 3 sets of squat and then being done
that.
and then
I feel
you
like
get to
I
go
do
back
that just
to your
randomly. I'm like, I'm gonna go do a set.
yeah,
Like,
and the studies are impressive, like way better results than
I
people
wanna
who
see
just go do
those.
1 hour at a time.
Because that really messes with people's all or nothing mentality. They're like, either I'm working super, super hard or I'm going to do nothing at all.
And then be freaking out. Wait, I won't even be able to sweat by then. And like, oh no.
It's like, turns out you don't need to. Isn't that awesome?
But to me, it makes sense. I mean, you think about humans whenever we are in our natural environment before the air conditioner and the buildings. I mean, we were out gathering food, whether we were hunting or we were farming or whatever. So consistently having to work out all day long, picking things up, putting them down. Like, that's what we were more designed to do than to be in a gym for 2 hours or an hour.
Yeah, and then sitting at the desk the rest of the day.
Yeah.
100%.
So I think it makes sense to me that our body would adapt to that better than, the 45-minute.
Yeah, go look up. I forget what they're calling them, but basically just Google all day workouts, and there'll be some studies. That's really cool.
We work in a gym. We should do this.
I know, and I have done that before.
Do this.
So when it's like really slow, I've done this before. Well, I'll just I'll keep 225 on the bench back there, and then once an hour I just go to hit up a couple reps.
Challenges.
Yeah, I know, pretty fun.
That'd be fun.
We do challenges, but I always win them all. So they quit.
Aw, bull.
So the past few challenges I've won, and they quit doing them.
We did win the dead hang challenge. I love this one, and we briefly mentioned this last week. Is you don't have to live in the gym. It does not have to take over your life. It does not have to be your identity. And I gym people, especially on Instagram, they portray that gym is life, and it's taken over my whole world. It does not have to do that. So many of my clients,
if it does, it's okay, but I think it doesn't make you a better person. It doesn't make you more educated. It doesn't make you actually hit your goals any faster. If that's what you want to do, that's fine, but just know that you're not better than somebody who comes in consistently just for like 45 minutes.
Right. So many of my clients, like they have real world lives outside of the gym, and they come and see me, 3 or 4 times a week, but that's it. Like it's not their life. It's not their identity. They just know that they have to do this. And it's a weird thing about that, because that's not our life,
Right.
That was a hard lesson I had to learn for sure about teaching other people fighting.
Yeah.
Is because I love it to an obsession point.
Oh yeah.
And so whenever other people, when I'm teaching them these things, and they don't go home and watch film, they don't go home and shadow box in the mirror.
No.
They think about it for 45 minutes or an hour and they leave.
That's it. Yeah.
Where I don't turn it off.
Right. Exactly.
And so whenever they're not on my level with it, it took me a little bit to realize okay, I'm gonna have to change how I teach. These type of people.
Right. For sure.
Yeah. And it's like what we said earlier. It depends on what you're doing it for. If you're looking for more functional movement and a better quality of life, then one's fine. If that's your career and you're trying to be on stage in 4 weeks, then that's something else entirely.
Yeah, exactly. And then at the end of that is like, in order to be successful, you don't have to meal prep every single meal. You don't have to walk around with a shaker bottle. You don't have to do all of it. No, because I brought mine in with me everywhere I go. That's funny. Yeah. But like,
walk around with your gallon jug.
There's so many people.
Okay, I feel attacked.
So do we.
So do we.
But so many people they look at the fitness industry and they're like, oh, I don't want to live that life. And if that's what I have to do in order to be a part of this family or to be a part of this lifestyle, I can't start. So I think a lot of times the way that gym enthusiasts portray their lifestyle, it probably keeps a
off-putting.
lot of people
Yeah.
from it. Yeah. You don't have to do that.
No. Well, we've talked about it before. The gym can be an intimidating place when you've never been into one before, You see all these machines and the weights, and you see big old strong dudes picking things up and grunting.
I think people have a natural inclination to think they're being judged anyway.
Yeah.
Especially in a new environment that you're not familiar with.
For sure.
And you're, like you said, you're new to it. So, like, you already think you look silly doing these things, and you're afraid someone else is going to notice that you look silly. It's a whole thing. It's a whole thing.
That's been like, I love visiting new gyms. It's like one of my favorite things to do. But I have been nervous to go to the Wichita Falls Barbell Club, the starting the starting strength gym there, just because I know the one is there.
The one.
The holy one.
Oh, I ain't scared. Let's go. I ain't scared. Let's go.
And I keep saying that because I lost his name. I was hoping you would say it.
It's
Mark Ripito. Okay,
Ripito,
yeah.
I have his book.
Yeah.
Shout out to Mark
awesome.
Ripito.
It's pretty cool. Yeah, one day we'll go.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
Yeah.
Field trip.
I'm not afraid of him yelling at me for my deadlift form.
That's what I'm scared of.
So what, dude?
Yeah, I know.
Correct
that's what
me.
I'm scared of.
Great.
He
I
will
need the
yell.
advice.
Yeah.
You're afraid of conflict is the problem.
A little bit. I do not
Confrontation.
like it. This last one I put is like, you do not have to go hard, and you do not have to go home.
But you can't
You don't
stay
have
here.
to. Exactly. That's just one of those myths that we talk about. It's like, you don't have to put 100% of effort into every single workout.
I've had to tell myself this a lot, especially as what we were talking about is recovering from sickness and stuff, deload weeks. I'm really bad about stuff like that because there is that irrational part of my mind that's like, I'm here, better give it everything I got because this is where I am, but it's not going to be beneficial.
Right.
Yeah.
A mature gym goer will know that I got poor sleep last night. I did not eat very well last night. I blah, blah, blah. And I know the circumstances are not set up correctly for me to just kill myself here.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take about 10% off here. Squirrely Dan.
Take
And
about 10% off there.
and so many letterkenny references in this episode. I love it.
Is that what you likes about me?
Is that what you like?
Sorry. Go
Oh,
ahead.
I love it.
Finish your point.
I lost it, but yeah. A mature gym goer will see the evidence stacking against him and say, okay, I'm going to take some off here, and know that if I only go 80% in here, I will probably walk out of here feeling better than if I went 100% in here.
Yeah.
And that's a hard lesson to learn, but once you learn it, I think it could be very helpful.
Well, you'll either learn it the easy way or the hard way.
Yeah.
Because the gym has a funny way of teaching you when you should hold off.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, that old back will start talking to you, Mr. Burwell.
Yes. You're talking to yourself now.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I probably shouldn't have done deadlifts as many sets as I did the other day. And
Probably not.
I think that's what it was.
Probably not.
Now you're back at square one.
Yeah, well.
What other soft advice do y'all think of?
I'm not good at soft advice.
I know you hate it.
This has been a struggle for me, this whole podcast.
I know, because
So
when
yell at
I
people?
mentioned the topic, you're like, oh, I don't like that.
I don't like that. Well, because we live in this nerfed world where everything is soft and all the corners are rounded so we don't bump our little heads on it. When, man, so many people need to hear the opposite of this too, where, listen, sometimes you do have to push yourself. You just got to know when to do it. And that's the thing. I think everything in moderation. I think there's a healthy balance.
Yeah.
And I think that's the point of today's podcast.
Getting
really
rid
is.
of the all or nothing mentality.
Yeah, don't go breaking yourself down to the point where, you get injured, but also push yourself too. I don't want anybody to get anything the wrong message with this, where they're like, oh, well, I don't really have to try hard either.
Right.
I mean, man, if you want the goals and you want the results,
You do.
you have
It's
to
hard
chase
work.
it.
Yeah.
And it's not easy. That's the real point, is it's not easy. And you got to do it. You
Yeah.
got to do the work to get the results.
I get it.
That's
Yeah.
also the difference between creating a discipline and it just being like, I'll go if I feel like it. I'll go when the mood arises or whatever.
Yep.
It's like, well, no, this is what I do on this day at this time. And I think that you've created that when you're actually probably struggling to take a day off.
Right.
Yeah.
My heart for this episode came from a situation like 2 nights ago. I said, when my daughter was up all night, up for like 3 hours. My wife was home, so it was just me and her. And at that point, she was already in my bed because I was trying to get her to sleep. And every time I realized she still wasn't asleep, she was like, "Daddy, I'm thirsty." And I would get her a drink. I was like, "Presley, go to sleep now."
Oh, man.
And, I was like raising my voice. I was, "Presley, you will go back to your room if you don't go to sleep." And, just kind of being really harsh with her. And then we ended up FaceTiming Lorna because she was at her night shift work. And she was like, "Joe, just be nice, be sweet, rub her hair, put her to sleep." And I was like, "Oh, you're right." So, of course, I felt all guilty. Immediately, we hung up, and I faced her, and I was put my hand on her face, and I was singing to her. I was rubbing her hair. We held hands, and she fell asleep almost immediately.
Yeah.
And so this, sometimes that's what people need in life is they don't need somebody in your face
you're right.
telling you how wrong you're doing things, how bad you're doing. Sometimes you need somebody to come to you through love, and that's when I think true life change can happen. And that's totally presents itself in the Bible, and especially when you're witnessing to somebody. Mm-hmm. I'm sure you guys have been witnessed to somebody, and they were trying to do that whole fire and brimstone tactic. Yeah. If you don't do this, you're going to hell. If you don't do this, you're going to hell. Nobody comes to the gospel to know Jesus through a fear of hell. And that's always been such a passionate thing for me, because if I want you to know Jesus, I want you to know him for who he is, and how much he loves us, and not I don't want you to say, "Okay, I guess I'll believe in this guy so I don't go to hell." That's not the gospel. That's not how it works. And so many people go about that and just nothing but trying to scare you into it. And that's what the fitness industry does. Let me scare you into making this life change so that you'll buy my program, of course, or something like that. But that's not how it's supposed to go about. Let me teach you how much better life you can have, how much better your marriage will be, how much your parenthood will be, how much everything will be in life when you just focus on growing yourself and loving people, loving your body. You can go so many places with that. Sure. But that's where I kind of got my idea for this episode.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Yeah, thank you. And I miss my daughter all of a sudden. I want to go hug her. So, well, Veronica, thank you for being on there.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Not that you're a guest anymore. You're going to be.
I'm always
you're just on the revolving door.
Regular.
She's going to do She's going to do the intro next time.
Yes, be listening for that.
All right, everybody. Y'all have anything else?
Oh, we covered it.
So.
All right. Make sure that you're following us and subscribed, whatever channel you're listening to, so you can get notifications whenever an episode drops, and you don't miss out on any of our good content. And we love you all. Thank you all so much for the support. And goodbye.
What are we? We're on Spotify, iTunes, YouTube,
Google Podcasts. We're on
anywhere podcasts.
Anywhere. We're on literally every platform that podcasts are on for the most part.
Yeah,
so,
no excuses.
Amazon Music and Audible. I know a lot of people use Audible. We're on there also.
Awesome. So, yeah, no excuses. Go
listen
to us.
And subscribe, rate, share, all that fun stuff.
All that good stuff.
All right. Goodbye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Progressive Overload podcast. We're honored to be a small part of your day. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, or are interested in sponsoring our efforts, please feel free to reach out via email. Find us at progressiveoverloadpod@gmail.com. Don't forget to subscribe and follow our podcast so you'll be notified when our next episode drops.
And as always, you can help us reach the masses by sharing our podcast with your friends and family. And then check us out on Facebook and Instagram to follow our own personal journeys and get an inside look on our day-to-day lives. Thanks again, and we'll see you soon.